Man stabs pregnant wife multiple times and injures daughters over gender disappointment. What kind of father would stab his pregnant wife to death and turn a knife on his own daughters, all because he wanted a son? This is the chilling true story of Drew Garnier, a man whose obsession with gender led to a tragedy that shocked a nation. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to dive into this heartbreaking case with us. It's a chilly September night in 2024 on Long Island, New York. The clock ticks past midnight when police and paramedics race to a quiet suburban street. A frantic 911 call has led them to a modest family home. As first responders step inside, the air feels heavy, thick with the metallic scent of blood. In the living room, 32-year-old Samantha Garnier lies motionless, her pregnant body stabbed multiple times, her eyes frozen in terror. Nearby, two young girls, ages 4 and 6, cling to each other, their small bodies trembling, wounded by the same blade that took their mother. And there, in the corner, stands Drew Garnier, their father, his clothes drenched in blood, his face a mask of chilling calm. What could drive a man to slaughter his own family? Was this a sudden burst of rage, or something far darker brewing for years? Stay with us as we unravel the twisted truth behind this horrifying night. Samantha Garnier, known to her loved ones as Sammy, grew up in the heart of Centerich, Long Island, a tight-knit community where she was a bright light from the start. Born in 1995, she was a joyful child, always smiling, with a laugh that could fill a room. Friends remember her as the girl who'd stop to help a struggling classmate or share her lunch without a second thought. At Centerich High School, Sammy shone, graduating with dreams as big as her heart. But what shaped this compassionate young woman into the devoted mother she'd become? Sammy was a nurturer, always putting others first. After high school, she poured her energy into her family, becoming a stay-at-home mom who lived for her daughters, Adelina and Izzie. Her days were filled with bedtime stories, school pickups, and endless love, creating a warm home despite life's challenges. Friends called her beautiful, compassionate, and loving, a mother who wanted only the best for her babies. She was 5 months pregnant with her third daughter, due in February 2025, when her life was tragically cut short. How did Sammy meet Drew, the man who would become her husband, and later her killer? They crossed paths in their early 20s, both Long Island natives. Their early days were filled with promise, shared dreams, quiet moments, and the joy of starting a family. But beneath the surface, was there a darkness in Drew that Sammy never saw coming? How did a love story turn into a nightmare that would leave two little girls without their mother? Samantha and Drew Garnier, both in their early 30s, were raising two lively daughters, Adelina, age 4, and Izzie, age 6, in a cozy home filled with toys and laughter. Drew was a warehouse worker, seen as a quiet, reserved man, often keeping to himself but doting on his daughters in public. Neighbors recall him pushing Adelina and Izzie on swings at the park, their giggles echoing through the neighborhood. To outsiders, the Garniers were just another young family chasing the American dream. But behind closed doors, were there cracks in this perfect picture? Friends later shared that Sammy confided about Drew's growing frustration. He'd always wanted a son, a boy to carry on his name, and the news of a third daughter hit him hard. His once warm interactions with Adelina and Izzie turned cold at times, short tempers, sharp words, as if their very existence disappointed him. Neighbors noticed Drew's late-night pacing in the yard, his face tense, his voice low on phone calls. Was this a man struggling with unspoken pressures, or was something far more sinister building inside him. How did these quiet tensions explode into a night of unimaginable violence? September 4, 2024, started like any other day in the Garnier home on Houck Road in Masonville, New York. The small house was filled with the usual sounds of family life: Adelina, 9, and Izzie, 6, playing, Samantha, 5 months pregnant, humming as she tidied up. But as evening fell, a deadly tension brewed. Around 11:30 p.m., the quiet was shattered. Inside, Drew Garnier, consumed by his obsession over not having a son, grabbed a knife. The attack began in the living room, where Samantha was folding laundry, unaware of the rage building in her husband. Without warning, Drew stabbed her multiple times, her screams piercing the night as she collapsed, blood pooling on the carpet. Adelina and Izzie, woken by the chaos, ran to their mother's side, only to face their father's blade. The girls, terrified, were stabbed but survived, their small bodies trembling as they witnessed their mother's final moments. A 911 call, placed by Drew himself, brought police racing to the scene. When troopers arrived, they found Samantha, barely conscious, lying on her side, her unborn daughter already gone. Drew, covered in blood with wounds on his hands, surrendered without a fight, a butter knife still in his pocket. With medical bags and guns drawn, the troopers approached, but froze when Drew poked his head out the front door, then ducked back inside. A single, high-velocity gunshot rang out, forcing the officers to retreat to the driveway, taking cover behind a sheriff's patrol car. The air was thick with dread. What was happening inside? With backup from a Delaware County deputy, they called for Drew to surrender. He emerged, hands up, his clothes soaked in blood, cuts on his hands, and a butter knife tucked in his pocket, a haunting detail that chilled the officers. In the wake of the horrific night of September 4, 2024, Drew Garnier faced the weight of justice in a Delaware County courtroom. Charged with first-degree manslaughter for the brutal stabbing death of his pregnant wife, Samantha, and 2 counts of first-degree assault. For wounding his daughters, Adelina, 9, and Izzie, 6, Garnier's fate hung in the balance. The manslaughter charge stemmed from the savage attack that killed Samantha and her unborn daughter, while the assault charges reflected the terror he inflicted on his own children. 1. Stabbed in the eye, her vision uncertain. On March 25, 2025, Garnier pleaded guilty, sparing his daughters the agony of testifying. On May 13, Judge John Hubbard sentenced him to 30 years in prison, with 20 years for manslaughter and 5 years for each assault, to run consecutively, followed by 15 years of supervised release. A full stay-away order was issued, barring contact with his daughters until 2056. The courtroom was heavy with grief as Samantha's father, Gregory Vernigallo, delivered a gut-wrenching victim impact statement. As the story of the Garnier family fades, we're left with a chilling truth: a mother's love was destroyed by a father's rage, all rooted in toxic gender expectations. Samantha Garnier, a devoted mom, and her unborn daughter were taken from this world, while Adelina and Izzie carry scars that may never heal. Drew Garnier's obsession with having a son, a dream twisted into a deadly fixation, shattered a family forever. How does a hope for a child become a motive for murder? What pushes a man to harm his own daughters, stealing their innocence and their mother in one brutal night? These questions linger, haunting us as we reflect on a tragedy that didn't have to happen. 3 little girls lost their mother, all because they weren't boys. Share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think drives someone to this point? Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to join us as we uncover More stories that demand to be told.